Andy Austin here with the next video in Better Marketing for Coaches. Now, first, I'd just like to say thank you to all the people who are asking questions and commenting on these videos. It is really appreciated. And of course, it helps me know really what I'm going to talk about. So if you have any additional questions, do please keep them coming in. It's always, always appreciated. Now, this one is on accreditation. Somebody asked, so what do I think of accreditation? Quite a lot and not much at the same time. Am I in favor of it? It would be nice if it was real, but then at the same time I see problems with it too. So one of the main things about accreditation that I observe is that most people don't actually care about who they're accredited by. They'll just send the money off and get that name, any grand name. If you're going to create an accreditation group, you've got to give it an important sounding name, the society of, the association of, the board of, that kind of stuff. And basically collect the money and allow people to use your logo and your name, and they can say, we're fully accredited and approved by such and such an organization. That's the illusion of qualification. And I can't deny the fact that that probably works. When people start putting this stuff on their website and start listing out who they're accredited and approved by, it does look good to a naive customer. If you're doing that, though, you may want to actually reevaluate, what are you doing? I have questions for you. Why are you creating the illusion of qualification? Why are you lying and faking it? Because ultimately, that's what it is. I get it, fake it till you make it. But if you're a coach, a therapist, a practitioner, and actually what you're supposed to be is some kind of custodian of mental welfare, mental health, emotional welfare, emotional health, and generally be some kind of example to other people, and there's you faking it, okay, you may want to reevaluate just what you're doing there. Now, some of the associations or societies that exist for a simple reason. They are the society or association that was formed by the innovator of that particular model. I'm thinking in terms of just, say, NLP. So Richard Bandler has his Society of NLP, and John Grinder has his particular, whatever that's called, I can't remember the name of it, but they have their own respective organizations. Now, what does that do? It means that when somebody says they were trained by or member of, you know that it has a lineage back to the developer of that particular model. And that's not entirely uncommon and not unreasonable as far as I can tell. How effective it is in terms of quality control is a whole different matter. And therein lies, for me, a major issue with a lot of these associations, boards, societies. There's dozens of them, and there's new ones cropping up every month. They all tend to claim to be protecting the field of whatever the alphabet therapy is. They claim to be maintaining standards. And I have to question, are you? Are they really doing that? Because my own experience in dealing with actually 3 of these organizations over the years, with some quite serious level complaints against some of their trainer members, 100% nothing happens. The only thing that happens is I'm regarded as a nuisance to the organization, or to the person claiming to be an organization, to be more realistic. And actually, nothing ever comes back in terms of dealing with the issue that I'm complaining about. One issue was that of blatant plagiarism. One particular trainer had just wholesale lifted a whole load of my work, wrote it up and put it in their manual, and was running training course in it. And that course was accredited and approved by this member organization. When I complained about it, what happened? Nothing. What came back at me? Unpleasant. Interesting. Quality control, for sure. And another one was from some nutter, and I know some of you from the days of NLP Connections days will have encountered this nutcase, who was a trainer member of one of the American groups, won't name them. And I raised some serious concerns, and this person was actually arrested and charged by the police, but I raised some serious concerns with the owner of that federation, and he lacked the will to do anything about it, it seems. So, who knows? I don't think that's not representative. So far, my 100% encounters with these groups, 3 out of 3, has demonstrated there is very little that they actually will do. As long as their members keep paying the money, they'll keep taking that money. So we have the illusion of qualification. However, Amongst the myriad of organizations, societies, and all the rest of it, some do actually offer stuff for their members. And so they'll offer post-registration training, they will have peer group support, they may have discounted insurance, there may be other member benefits, they may have an annual conference, all these kind of things. So there actually is a reason to be a member of that particular group. The issue for me is not so much whether that group is legitimate or not, because what makes any group legitimate apart from they've just been around the longest? Really, that's what it comes down to. The issue is a member benefit group isn't a qualification or a quality assurance. It is simply somebody is a member of a club and they're getting benefits from that. They then will use that membership as the illusion of qualification. And those organizations, of course, are quite happy for people to do that because it helps promote their name. And for me, that's where the issue is. Now, is there such a thing as accreditation that's real? And this is a difficult one because I don't know if there is. I certainly know that there's plenty of people who are fully accredited in, say, orthodox healthcare, whether a nurse, a physiotherapist, or a doctor, who history has demonstrated have been problematic and haven't necessarily been the best clinician ever. Now, in theory, peer group and professional standards deal with those individuals. The legal system may get involved in some of those individuals, and then they get dealt with. So at that level, accreditation has some kind of legal basis and some kind of professional recognized basis. And there are machinations in place. There are systems in place that enable the difficult individuals to be dealt with appropriately. I'm not sure that exists in any of these pseudo-accrediting bodies in any of the alphabet therapies. At least if it does, I'm not seeing it. So when they talk about quality control, quality assurance, maintaining standards, I think that's a nice claim to put on the website because it sounds official. But what do they actually do to maintain that? I'm not aware. I'm yet to see something of that myself. Now, one of the problems about accreditation, of course, is if it's mandatory and compulsory. So a lot of people think, well, we should have legislation. We should force practitioners to come in out of the dark, to actually become orthodox and registered and be a proper professional, rather than just be the lone wolf or the ronin individual or the person who's not trained and approved by anybody like myself and have just set up independent practice with zero qualification. Wow. Imagine how that looks in the media. Understandably, that would raise a lot of concerns by people saying, well, so who are these unqualified, uncertified, non-approved therapists or people claiming to be therapists? Is this a dangerous thing? It could be. But now let's look at the alternative. We introduce a standardization where now every therapist has to do CBT. Or anyone who's going to do people helping skills in any capacity must be a qualified clinical psychologist with 5 years postgraduate educational training. That sounds really meaningful when it's a news headline, when it's a thing that is reactionary against the things that go wrong when you have all these people acting in the cause of mental health. Not everyone themselves are mentally healthy. It sounds meaningful to make standardization legitimate and legislating for it. The problem with it is then it stifles all forms of creativity. So I know I'm pretty good. The people I know that I look to for advice and for peer support are also pretty good. None of us are registered. The moment we would then be standardized, we would lose the ability to do what it is that makes us able to do what it is we do. The moment we would be standardized, we lose our skill set. So it's a double-edged sword. We can standardize people, but you lose your pockets of excellence. But also by standardization, you raise the overall standard by getting rid of the worst offenders. And that's what we see in orthodox healthcare with standardization. You lose pockets of excellence, but overall the standard gets raised. And there's lots of evidence that demonstrates that. So at one level, I think, yeah, let's have standardization legislation and actually have this thing made official. And then the other one, I think, well, the cost to me would be too high. This is a problem. So I have mixed views on what I think about these things. What I do know is the majority of registration accrediting bodies are nothing of the sort. They are just one person in their living room, one person in their basement or their parents' house setting stuff up. You'll be familiar, I suspect, with the British Board of NLP. They set up as the British Board of NLP. In its first incarnation, I took them to task and they tried to sue me, which didn't go very well. Let's just put it that way for them, because I cannot defame the British Board of NLP because it doesn't exist. It's that simple. It never existed. It was a website. It was two people in their flat trying to make some money, make a name for themselves. That spectacularly failed. It was then sold to somebody else, and then I dealt with that one too. Yet, if you type in accredited member of, and this was years ago, by the way, this was at least 10 years ago. I'm guessing, actually might not be. It was a lot of years ago. But if you type in approved by, accredited by, member of, BBNLP, British Board of NLP, look how many people still say they're a member of it. And you think, what are they doing? This thing never existed in the first place. It doesn't exist at all, even by website now. And people will still tell you they're fully approved, accredited, and a member of. That's not the only organisation. I can talk about that one because it's out there publicly. The BBC got involved with me to make that half-hour documentary on registering the cat, and I was the consultant to that particular TV show. I'll find the link to it and stick it in the comment section. So accreditation is problematic, is also largely shambolic, and that's the thing to really pay attention to. If you're going to send your money off, what are you getting for your money? That's an important question to ask. But you also have to look at, if you're sending your money off to get that accreditation, why? What is your motive? Is it because you want to create the illusion of qualification? And if that is the case, don't do that, because you're fooling yourself as well as fooling the marketplace. If you want formal accreditation, formal qualification, go and get it. Go and put the work in. Don't take the shortcut. Otherwise, you might as well just go and buy a mail order PhD and pretend that you're a doctor. There's plenty of that going on. And more so in the States than in the UK, but there's plenty of people in the UK. Less so these days for various reasons. So that's my advice. If you want to give the illusion of qualification, go and get the real qualification. If you want the benefits of a member organisation, then join that organisation. Nothing wrong with that. But don't fool yourself into thinking that you're making yourself legitimate when actually you know that you're not. Congruency is really important, as well as honesty. As always, do please leave any comments, any additional points, any criticisms of what I'm saying here. Do stick those in the comment section below. I'm interested in what other people think of accreditation. What I do know is this. Some of the leading bodies in the UK that are vying for the political position to be the ones who legislate and control things like hypnotherapy. If you think those guys are good guys, you might want to just have a little look beneath the surface. That's all I can tell you. I will oppose them in every possible way, should it start looking likely that they will attempt to, or be given the authority to actually start to control the hypnotherapy in the UK or other alphabet therapies that are aligned to that. Because I think a lot of these people are motivated by power and money. They're not motivated by standards and actually promoting a decent way of actually helping people out there with problems. Do please click the like button. Always appreciated. Leave any comments, and I'll see you in the next video.